Alright, hello everybody and welcome back to yet another match of the Katyum Cup turn. We are back for for our finals match. It's a little later than usual considering that this was rescheduled to be today when Grand Finals will be on this coming weekend. But that aside, we will have our penultimate match before we get to decide who's going to be in guaranteed spots for the top 3 podium. Going to be none other than Znow versus SDKL. In this very matchup, C5 gets C2. This is going to be a really interesting match considering that both of them are very flexible players, and especially with the map pool getting progressively difficult, this one's going to be a lot more interesting as opposed to, you know, so many other matches, as this will decide who's going to be where in the top 3 podium. I'm going to be your commentator, Epperman2, and I'm going to be your solo commentator for the time being. So both players taking their roles now. SDKL will be taking the points by quite a dominant amount, rolling an 87 over Znow's 39, and will be opting to ban first. So Znow will be the one taking the first protects. I would imagine that Znow would probably want to try and go for something that can be against the comfort of SDKL, but it seems like they will go for hybrid free. I feel that this makes sense considering that there isn't really much information that Znow has to go up on because, again, SDKL is also very, very flexible when it comes to the variety of maps that they have played in the past. So SDKL will be utilizing that to protect EX1 on the other hand. So Hybrid and Rice protect. I would imagine that SDKL would probably want to ban a Rice map against Znow, or at least maybe one of the more physical picks. But then it's also kind of like hard to predict considering that, you know, EX1 is a protective SDKL here. Rice 1 will be the ban of SDKL, considering that, you know, it makes sense because there could be some kind of discrepancy when it comes to how good either of these players are when it comes to stuff like speed streams, for example. Just gonna wait to see what Znow bans here now. Oh yeah, and on that note, we will have another commentator for this round. Thank Lord, the sun has genuinely blessed us this very morning, or this very evening when it's gone.
Hello everybody!
Yeah.
It is I, Adam Yuki.
Y'all.
How's it going? I'm going to commentate with Mr. Epic Man too, to make sure he's not lonely.
Yeah. I mean, definitely one of the few things that we always gotta like make sure is that whenever there's a good match that's happening, we make sure that there isn't a lonely commentator that's like just sitting there waiting for something to come about. So yeah.
Especially when we are on the final stage, soon to be grand finals as well. We usually try and make sure there's 2 commentators to make sure things run smoothly. And here I am on the last minute notice.
Amazing. Always gonna love when you have some of these last minute kerfuffles as per usual. On that note, however, Znow will be banning Rice 2, and Rice 5 will be the first pick from SDKL. See, one thing that's kind of like grinding my gears at the moment is the fact that there's been a lot of hard to predict options because it really just comes down to how specific every pick is here in this very map pool, considering that both players have banned Rice against each other, or at least specifically Speed and Jump Stream, whereas they are going to be picking into a technical pick as per what SDKL is doing. Maybe this could be to try and exploit Znow's accuracy when it comes to a lot of these technical picks, but I would imagine, like, because this one can be physical, it's definitely gonna not go the way that SDKL could be warranting, but I'm not sure. I'll just have to wait to be proven wrong, since this is also on the longer side at 4.5 minutes of leg.
Yeah, not to mention, these two players are just so good in Rise. It's really, really hard to predict that whichever one of these two players will have the upper advantage in terms of the general vicinity of Rise pick, since both of the Rise, like you mentioned, got banned. Was it the speed and jump stream? Rise 1 and Rise 3, I would take a guess, or Rise 2. Okay, Rise 1 and Rise 2 being banned, with the other Rise being available. It's really hard to predict on who is going to have a upper edge in this case. Znow did drop a few 200 on the anchor, giving SDK a little bit of comfort zone in terms of accuracy as of now, but it's not super comfortable where it's a breathing room to capitalize on. Both players still holding on to the full combo. That's really needed, especially finals map, who is really, really difficult.
Yeah, especially for a map like this. This one is incredibly abrasive, as we can see. The first drop coming from Znow, albeit it's still within the first quarter, but at the same time, now that the combos have built up quite a significant amount before that drop came from Znow, is definitely going to shift the tides of what is really possible within this matchup alone. But at the same time, SDKL doesn't really seem too bright when it comes to accuracy on this either. Dropping a lot of greats here and there, and also just not really seeming that positive when it comes to the MA, but it's just because of the combo alone that's keeping them afloat in this matchup alone, while Znow takes another drop to their name.
Yeah, and that second drop was pretty big from what I see as well. Not only did he miss, but I think he dropped a 200 or 100 even on just the burst itself, going to give SDK a little bit more of a comfort zone in terms of score lead at 8,000 right now. Still holding on to the full combo and barely having the accuracy advantage still by a whole 0.1%. It's going to give him a slight comfort zone as we are entering the second half of the map soon. This is a full-on 4 minutes and 30 seconds almost of a map. There's a lot of room for error still from SDK's side if he ever finds any, but the same goes for Znow as well. Knowing that he has dropped twice now, and the second drop being a lot more, well, it's severe compared to the first one, they must know that SDK will either still have the lead or may think that SDKL also found a miss himself. But as I said, that Znow finds a third drop this time around, but it's going to be a clean one. But still, a combo reset is a combo reset, giving SDK more of a score lead, down to 12,000 score leader now.
Yeah, it's especially in matchups like this where you are faced against someone that's also really good at tech. Even if it doesn't come down to being, you know, as inherently accurate when it comes to a lot of these hits, at least they are managing to keep the physicality up when it comes to the combo alone. And that's exactly what's allowing SDKL to run away with this map in particular, because it is long. The first drop finally comes out from SDKL, but it was a pretty rough one as well, having the score in just a matter of a few seconds, pretty much, as it's now just about 5,000 that separates the two at the moment. The map doesn't really let up for a while at all either. There is pretty much more room for error than there is for you to actually breathe, and that's exactly what's making both these players suffer. SDKL probably let the fatigue get to them just a bit with that really rough drop, whereas Znow is slowly climbing back, but at the same time, there's not really much time left to be able to try and take this back, as there's only really just a few seconds left.
Yeah, both players having basically the same accuracy, but due to the fact that Znow has resetted their combo more times compared to SDKL, that's going to be the lead to it. SDKL going to be giving him the first point of the matchup, just due to the fact that he was able to keep up the physicality and hold on to the combo way better compared to Znow, and not missing a lot more times compared to Znow will give him the upper edge, finishing off with a 980k finisher. Better ratio actually from SDK, but just dropping an extra 150s during the misses.
Yeah, I also want to point out how both SDKL and Znow had gone the same number of grades, but it was just ultimately the more punishing drops coming from Znow that's what separated everything apart from these two. I mean, again, SDKL had a really rough drop, seeing the goods and also the bad judgments on their score, but fast side. Because of the ratio alone and also just the general consistency of SDKL throughout that map, it's exactly what's going to bring them to their first point as Znow will opt in for EX2 being the next pick. It's just barely shorter than the previous map as well, being the LN boss pick as well. So Flowwind is...
Yeah, it may be a Long Note versus Rise kind of matchup here, but who knows? We know how Znow is capable in quite a decent bit of skill set. Same with KL. We just have to see which one of them will find the comfort in EX2. But due to the fact that Znow did pick EX2 to begin with, they may feel a little bit more confident in terms of the physicality push of the mini tiebreaker as Long Note.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, okay, that's a very early drop from SDKL right there. I'm not sure if that was Bancho, but if it is, then... Oh, that's definitely going to be some early advantage for Znow, but not going to be by much either because, again, this is literally at the very beginning of the map. This is an entire 4-minute map that you really need to go through, and I would imagine the technicality of the LNs in this one become really difficult as well with the reverse shields you have to kind of micromanage here. I mean, just going off some previous map pools, I remember for a fact that a lot of these LN boss picks were really difficult, so I'd imagine if this one ends up going really physical, then it's definitely going to be a lot more difficult to be able to act for either side if SDKL can at least try and manage Znow when it comes to a map as difficult as this.
Yeah, but we do see Znow still holding on to the full combo at the very least, but their accuracy does take a few toll. SDKL going to find a second drop this time around after finding a few combo gain. Well, it's gonna be a full-on reset from SDKL, but Znow will be trading it back shortly afterwards. It's virtually the same in terms of 3000 score lead. We'll just have to wait on both Znow and SDK back to 400 combo cap to see if score lead will still be on Znow's side or will it slowly case side in favor. And oh, I don't think that's Bancho. It's Bancho. SDK,
it's
thank
Bancho,
God.
Yeah.
If that was not Bancho, it would have been such a terrible place to miss as well. But thankfully, it's Bancho. The score is going to stagnate at around 7,000. No, he has to hold combo as best as he could. This time around, we actually see the accuracy going to be in favor of side a little bit. Not comfort, but final dropping as well, get a bit more lead. Half soon. My microphone.
Your internet is
it's my microphone setting. I was saying SDK finding more drop on the Long Note burst is not a good scenario. Now that Znow's built up his accuracy as well, it's not looking good.
Yeah, not gonna look good for the time being, considering that it was looking pretty equalized throughout the earlier half, just going off Znow taking one miss their name as opposed to SDKL taking multiple. But at this point, it's pretty much looking like a reverse situation of what we've seen on Rise 5 earlier on, where this is a longer map that both players are tackling each other on, albeit because of the sheer difficulty and just one's capabilities just being slightly more superior when it comes to the consistent game, it's pretty much what sets it into two apart. I think this is exactly what our side was trying to look into, where it's like they know that both Znow and SKL here are very equal with each other when it comes to either skill set, when it comes to Rice and LNs. So it's like very volatile in terms of what exactly kind of pick would be advantageous to one, but we can definitely see it from this one that, you know, SKL struggled a little bit more with these LNs when it came to the consistency game as opposed to Znow, who's basically shining just as much as SKL was on Rise 5 from earlier on, and it's pretty much looking to continue that, going about, what, almost 5,000 combo win after that one miss they took. It's crazy.
Yeah, they're on their way to the 5,000 combo cap for Znow. Literally having comfort in terms of the physicality push for Long Note. He does find a miss now, however, but it's going to shrink down just a little bit just due to the fact that Znow still has the tremendous accuracy lead on their favor. It's not going to shrink by much. They build up their combo back to 400 combo cap. so it's going to stop shrinking at around 7,000 score lead in favor of Znow, not dropping too much accuracy at the burst as well. Without any big mishaps, and there isn't, Znow will be taking their first point of the matchup, giving himself 1-1 in the matchup against SDKL. 4 very clean miss as well from Znow's side, with virtually the same ratio back-to-back on both Znow and SDK.
Things are going to be tied 1-0 for the time being. I would honestly like to imagine SDKL is probably going to opt in for another Rice pick then, but based on these 2 picks from earlier on, this does make me wonder what exactly we can expect of this matchup. What would you say would be the more ideal option to go from here, Adam?
I guess. Oh, LN1.
Oh. Okay, never mind.
That's not what I was thinking. I was thinking SDK may choose either one of the Rice available. Maybe, well, Rice 3, for example, the consistency pick, since what we saw on him from Rice 5 was sheer consistency dominance. Or they could have chosen EX1 to push their physicality and test the waters a bit against Znow. From what we saw on the performance of Rice 5, that was prone to missing on the Rice more compared to the long node. So I thought maybe the safe option would be going for the Rice, but it seems like we are going to be seeing long node 1. My love for you will begin after I kill you. What a title name, honestly.
Yeah.
What a name. But this is very unexpected, in my opinion.
It really is. I mean, this does make me wonder what exactly is the strategy that either player is going for here, because if SDKL is just taking gamble after gamble when it comes to not even just the bans, but also extending that to the regular picks as well, I mean, they literally lost on the LM boss pick by a substantial amount, and, you know, going right into what's probably going to be timing hell at 300 BPM is... It's not really the easiest feat, but I guess I'm intrigued to see what SDKL could make out of this, because this is going to be half the length of what we've seen in EX2. So maybe this could be better because you require less like consistency to be able to make your way through the entirety of this pick alone. But at the same time, this also has the potential to be just as intricate, even if it is going to be on the easier side as opposed to EX2.
Yeah, but at least usually the long node 1's pick are upwards towards 3 to 4 minutes just due to the nature of it being timing hell. But thankfully for the finals map pool, the length is going to be under 3 minutes for a very rare occurrence, but in exchange we have the density to worry about. As we can see, both players they're actually tied in terms of accuracy right now, both holding 99.66%-ish, just tying towards each other, both holding the full combo. Just on the sheer fact, we see Znow having just a slight lead in terms of 1,000, but it can easily be swung towards SDK if Znow does find a few 300 or 200 rush, or even a combo reset on their point of view. Both players still holding on to each other like they're holding hands, shaking, just not letting go at all.
Yeah, at this point, picks like this are going to feel more like a mutual agreement between the two than anything that's super competitive. SDKL is going to drop a little bit on the accuracy department, but it's going to bring Znow to about 2,000 points of advantage, and he's still increasing bit by bit, just going off SDKL, leading a bunch of these misjudgments, as we can see. It's not substantial enough that it's going to really end everything on this pick alone, because again, Znow is also dropping a little bit. I just saw that great leap being bled out through so many staggered releases as well, but at the same time, both players are dropping a little bit. Minuscule misjudges after another, and that's exactly what's keeping things stagnant for the time being, as you were alluding to, Adam, in some other picks earlier. Pretty much probably going to be a general trend we might see of this matchup alone, but at the same time, definitely looking a lot better for SDKL here than it was on EX2 on the other hand.
Yeah, but looking better does not mean doing better. As we can see, Znow still has about 0.1% of accuracy lead now. SDK did gain a little bit of accuracy back, but comparing to Znow's consistency in terms of getting the ratio up on the board, there's a sheer number of differences as well. It's going to be at the end of the map coming soon. Will either one of these players find any singular drop that will possibly find a swing? Oh
no! Bro!
Oh. No, not again! Dude. Not Not again!
Bro, we are so back.
Not again! I thought it ended. I thought it ended with Abstraction Cup. Not again!
Dude. The ghosts will never leave your door, bro. They're always here. They're always inside your walls. I swear to God.
Not again! Oh, the curse is
having
back.
it-
Oh no.
I don't even get how SDKL had like the sheer balls to pick into this because like, I mean, it wasn't looking pretty good for the first half, but it's just the general consistency that makes me wonder maybe SDKL was taking this pick more based on a gamble type approach, but that's kind of where the risk comes into because these are the kind of things that I would imagine Znow would want to pick into, whereas SDKL is basically picking into picks that Znow would rather take himself, if I was to imagine so. LN4 pretty much more within Znow's grasp. This is definitely a very Znow pick here, but I would imagine maybe SDKL should just stick to the Rise, but that at the same time really just depends on how either side is going to be doing on those, because again, we saw that Rise 5 wasn't that confident for Znow, but that's just because it was like, what, longer than the Eiffel Tower or something.
Yeah, that is a good way to describe it, but at the same time, we do see the ratio advantage was on SDKL by a decent bit actually on Rise 5. I'm hoping that when it's his pick again, he can try and capitalize on some of the Rise available. Like I mentioned, Yuaku, which is Rise 3, the consistency pick, he can try and capitalize on that just from the momentum he had on Rise 5. From Rise 5 to Rise 3 can be a good idea since both maps are long and it tests your consistency to a certain degree. But right now, that will be put on hold as we are getting into LN4. It's going to be more or less the technical LN pick mix-ish, and we can see some of the shoes coming in as well. Both Znow and SDK is virtually tied in terms of accuracy as of now. It's just the beginning, however. There's a lot of room to cover on this 3-minute long of a map, and anything can happen in terms of accuracy drop, 200 drop, or miss.
Oh my days. Right as he called it, a drop comes out from Znow going into the transition, and that's not going to really look good. It is still a fairly clean miss. The accuracy is still really close, get all things considered between these two, but at the same time, first drop going into the back end of the map, or just past the first quarter, is gonna definitely be punishing when the map is only 3 minutes of length and you have a lot of really fast stream bursts like this, which SKL is managing with as much elegance as they can, but even then, it's also dropping a little bit on their own as well, not seeming to have every single ounce of accuracy on their side, as it's going to be climbing down to about 2,000 points of a difference, but it's only just 0.01% of accuracy difference pretty much at this point, but still can definitely change going to the latter sections of this map as we go into the back half.
Yeah, but SDK does have the slight accuracy lead. Well, we can't really say that since it's flickering between those two players, but at the very least, he has the score lead due to Znow finding an early miss. I'm so sorry, yet again. But it's going to give SDK a little bit of a, breathing room. It's not much, but all SDK has to do is show what he's capable of in Rise 5 performance that he did. This is the only way that can be proven. That can be a break point back to back. It's one of the hardest sections. Both players hitting it like it's nothing. I've seen that section like it's nothing from both Znow and SDK. Still holding on to the full combo is what SDK really needed as well. Just passing through that section alone will hopefully give him a little bit of boost in confidence or give him a little bit of nervousness. Since having a high combo on such a difficult round, there's a thinking in your mind that is the other player FCing just like me, or something like that.
Yeah. Definitely gonna be one of the more scarier fools to have going to a map like this, but at the same time, the score is looking really tight between
It's actually shrinking. It's shrinking.
It's shrinking. Oh my god, we're virtually tied again.
SDK finding a miss! No!
Unless Znow drops, it probably could be it because they've basically managed to recover the combo as best as they can. Still so many flams we have to go through, but there's no way. Okay, it's over. Another seal. And that's crazy. Only 3 greats! What?
What do you mean you get 3 grades on a long note for technical mixed long note pick? What are you on? What do you mean 3 grades on this kind of pick? Are we serious?
Bro, the salt is real. What even is that?
SDK may have had the map if he held onto the full combo, but I guess we will never know. That was an insane comeback as well, despite finding the miss, just due to the fact that Znow is an alien in terms of controlling the long note tails and having very, very few grades. Is going to secure him 3 points of the matchup already. And finally, SDK is going to choose Rise 7, another Rise coming in, and it's going to be World White Superstar by our host. I hope what I commentated on the finals match with Vayne and Angela does not happen here again.
Oh, what? It was like the really rough curse.
At the very ending, Angela found a 200 and 100 choke, swinging it straight to Vayne instantly. I hope that doesn't happen here, or else I'm gonna be taunted with a nightmare.
Yeah, I remember I saw the clip when it first happened. I was like, bro, what do you mean this is still happening going into finals? Some of these players must be like on absolute crack and cocaine or something just to perform well in a matchup situation. But one thing I'd like to point out is that this is also one of the shortest Rise picks we have in Mapo alone. So if SKL is going to be going into this pick, then they better come in swinging, because again, they have 2 points that they need to catch up by if they want to be able to try and push themselves ahead of the equation. Because for what it looks like, this map is pretty anti-flow in a way. There's a lot of fairly conventional parents, but there's also a lot of bursts that we have here and there, as Znow is going to be the first to drop. Gonna secure a comfortable lead for SDKL going into this first quarter as well, going past about 700 combo now, but even then, still such a small amount of the map that's really been done yet.
Yeah, but at the very least, it's a combo reset on Znow despite it being early. It's going to give SDKL a little bit of lead right now, being 10,000. I say a little bit because this is a 2-minute map, but SDK does have this severe accuracy advantage right now at 99.8 comparing to Znow. Finding another miss is going to reset his combo one more time, and again, not finding these unconventional pattern any gracefulness, finding accuracy drop back to back as well, down to barely a 99%, while SDKL is just running away with it. Halfway done with the map, to holding on to full combo with such a big accuracy lead as well. Going to be 25,000 score lead in favor of SDKL already. That's really what you needed on such a finals pick.
Yeah, I have no idea how SDKL is pulling this off right now with not even a single misplay at the moment going to the final quarter, but here we are. Still, a lot of map left to go through, but at this point, SDKL could very well just take this one and literally just run away with this point if they really want to. I think we're at a point where it's like the only way Znow is going to be able to recover this one, just based on all the misses that he took throughout this one, is if SKL just lets go of the keyboard. But the likelihood of that is basically close to none as we approach at the final 100,000 score of the map. But I think it's pretty much over. It doesn't look like SKL wants to let the drops happen. And at this point, final inner column trill. I think this was where we saw
that's where happen. Angela choked.
Yeah.
But SDK this time around is going to run away very, very smoothly, having the ratio advantage by a mile alongside with the 200 count against Znow in this case.
Yeah, that's quite a heavy advantage.
This actually can very well be a long note versus Rise dominance against these two players. It's just that I feel like SDKL found out that, oh, I'm more dominant in Rise compared to Znow once he chose the long note 1 pick and seeing his performance on the other long notes.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of the thing when it comes to this match. Like, I would have imagined the nature of this one alone, like knowing both these players, is that it's really hard to predict how well either side is going to be performing on certain categories. So this is kind of what I would have assumed that SKL would have gone off of, where it's like, he has to test the waters and test Znow on a variety of picks to be able to try and figure out what exactly they can make of certain maps, what they can make of certain picks to be able to try and exploit them to get some picks that are really well in their favor. I mean, both times we've seen Rice, it went really well. All times we've seen LN, it went well for Znow. LN3 going to be the next pick. I would imagine Znow is probably confident enough when it comes to these LNs to be able to try and take anything that comes their way. This one needed you. It's pretty much just calling out to Znow at this point.
With Long No Tree coming in, it's going to be Needed You mapped by Yunazu, one of our MMWC winner and mapper as well. This is going to be interesting to say the least, with LN3 most of the time being very, very technical. It can really depend on how each player will tackle on with the way the long note is being snapped and mapped. But from the previous performance we've seen from Znow on both long notes and EX2 pick, this may very well be up his valley as well, considering this crazy performance we saw on long note 4. He may very well be doing the same thing on long note 3 again against SDKL.
Yeah, exactly. I would imagine because this one, in terms of the song itself, is going to be way slower than what we've seen of Q Karen bootleg. It's definitely going to be, I would imagine, more dense when it comes to the raw technicality aspect. And that's exactly what Znow would want to try and exploit here, because I would imagine it becomes a little less physical than what we've seen on the likes of LN4, where, yeah, the advantage came from how physical the map itself was. Albeit, I would imagine this one's probably going to be more focused on just being a little more technical and control-oriented. Maybe Znow could be using that to try and at least tackle SDKL on any kind of open hole that is basically out for grabs, but maybe SDKL is hiding something that we haven't seen yet, and is looking to try and showcase that within this pick alone. We'll have to see as we go into the first drop here.
Yeah, we just have to see with the rest of the map available to boot as well. Currently, it's a very, very minuscule lead to SDKL, just having the slight accuracy lead. But with the first drop coming in, that can easily be swung by the second. Finding a few 200 drop from SDKL, but the same goes to Znow as well. But a lead is a lead swung. Znow having the minuscule lead. Currently, SDKL finding a big accuracy drop there despite it though. Going to give Znow a little bit more of a comfort zone with the first half already finished and the first drop finished as well. It's going to be swung straight into Znow's side. It's just depending on the consistency of these two players now.
Second drop coming in as well. There's going to be a lot more flams we can see, and some trills transition us right into this next section. There's going to be some more anchors alongside the general rhythm-oriented nature of this song itself being expressed to such a dense gratitude that it's exactly what Znow needs. They're dropping a little bit, but so is SDKL on a variety of patterns. There's a lot of very physical parenting that's really rooted in this one alone, and just these anchors alone are very discomforting to be able to try and hit alone, albeit there's only really just less than a quarter of the map left, as there's still so many jacks you have to work your way through. But I think now Znow has pretty much gone through the main meat of the potatoes here, and at this point, looking to try and take this one by, well, it's not even that much points either. This very well could have gone in the favor of SDKL had it been to one miss, but Znow is just refusing to let that miss come out. He's just trying his best to go through it, and he successfully does, going into that final flam. 985k on this pick alone with only 13 grades.
Both players have seen as well. What the heck? It's finals week at Minion World Cup +1, which is basically grand finals. Yet, both of these players can full combo this like it's nothing.
Yeah, exactly. What
are we on?
Yeah. Honestly, I have no idea. We're just on, like, helium.
Just in a simulation.
Precisely that.
But that's going to give the edge to Znow, though. It's going to be 42 in favor of Znow. With EX1 coming in, it's going to be the Rice tiebreaker-esque map. Burning Aquamarine coming in. Is probably going to be capitalizing. His CK may be capitalizing on EX1 just due to the fact that he just has a better physicality, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, from what we've seen on various of these other picks, SDKL has managed to keep up on the ratio game when Znow is literally right next to them, especially when it came to stuff like Rice 7 and what we've just seen on LN3. They won on the ratio battle by quite a bit, especially with that 666 MA that we saw on LN3, albeit what's really setting the two apart is just the roll consistency alone, because I imagine SDKL feels a lot better at consistency when it comes to Rice, as I would imagine that's their comfort zone for the most part, much like anyone else at this point. But Znow is literally utilizing these LN maps to be able to bring themselves an advantage. But LN3 looked the best for SDKL as opposed to every other LN pick we've seen, going right for EX1, basically trying to take Znow by the throat here now that it's still 2 points that SDKL has to climb up by, with this one being more with upper one. And okay, what was that?
Very early miss as well. Just a random miss from SDKL on the easy section. At least it's not at the 400 combo cap or any of the threshold where it would matter significantly. And this map is at the very least 5 minutes and 26 seconds. There's a lot of room off this map as well to have things to change on Znow's side, but still, that was a very unfortunate miss from SDK very early on, including an extra 200 count as well. But there we go, Znow will be missing, but is traded back to SDK very quickly. He's going to stagnant at Znow's side still.
Yeah, score refuses to budge as both players miss right on cue, pretty much going to neutralize everything once again. And this is precisely what Znow is looking for right in this very overdue pick, kind of. This is not even his Protect Ira, because again, this is SDKL's pick, but actually no, SDKL did pick into this one, and Znow's just trying to do what they can on a pick like this. I think it's because this one's more physical than some of the other Rice picks that Znow's probably going to try and use this as much as he can to try and get another point or break point, because I think for Znow, they want to try and end out this match as soon as possible. There is a lot of abrasive parrying that really opens up for a lot of choke points, which can definitely allow or make SDKL suffer a little bit. But again, this is their Protect, so SDKL must have been a little more confident when it came to this pick alone. So let's have to see from maybe latter portions of the map to see whether they tell a different story for what's currently established.
Yeah, but as of now, both players is still holding about the same accuracy that they had since the very beginning. Just the differences being SDK having one extra miss compared to Znow, that's going to give Znow the slight lead as well, still at 2,000 score lead. But so much room of the map is left that anything can still happen for either one of these two players. One of the more than side coming in, but they're just not letting up. They're still able to climb back the accuracy no matter how rough the map treats them. Despite it being EX1, the skill cap as tiebreaker map of Rise, they're just not letting up against each other. It's literally side by side currently. SDK getting their accuracy back up from 66, I think, all the way to 67 earlier, but dropping a little bit. Still finding a chain miss. No trading it back though. It's gonna balance a little bit, but the rougher miss will be from SDK having extra 100 as well, comparing to Znow.
I mean, with this section alone, it's pretty much expected that we can see drops from either side, considering that it is fairly hard to control when you have literal patterns like this, where, you have a lot of these really odd kind of directioned mini jacks, for example, but it's not really phasing either side that much at all, to be honest. There is a lot of anchors that we still see here, a lot of variable anchor streams or jacks that we have as well. But Znow is literally making do out of any resource he can find out the crop field, as there's still some more bursts to go through. There's this other build-up that's going to lead into the next drop going into the final third, and even then, it still looks like SDKL has an opportunity to take it. Okay, never mind. My bad.
Okay, guess both of us commentators will be cursing players today. Specifically SDKL.
It's literally like we have a death wish. What am I even doing, bro? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
This caster lineup is cooked if they're casting for any other tournament. It's just going to be two cursing back to back, but SDK does find the momentum back to 400 combo cap though, but the lead is in Znow's favor. Finding a miss, going to reset their combo, but it's a relatively clean one at that. It's going to shrink down a little bit, but not much. Down to under 4,000 score lead now, but there's still rooms in this map left. Just under 1/4 left of the map. SDK is going to be the one missing again.
And again,
big drop. That time around, it's going to be a big drop, dropping the accuracy significantly and a lot of 200 count as well. It's going to give Znow all the way from 3,000 score lead all the way to 12,000 now as we are slowly closing in on the map left. All Znow has to do is just hold onto the combo he has and not find any significant drop like SDKL.
Oh, and this is probably not even a good pick to let up as well if you're SDKL, because you've been looking really good on some of these other Rise picks, but with yet another pick that looked fresh for the majority of it, only to just unfortunately collapse towards the end. These patterns are just a little too much for SDKL as opposed to Znow when things looked equal for just a bit, but now this ending is basically what seals it. Few grades are being bled from Znow, but the damage has been done. That one miss is not going to mean anything going through that final burst. Final inner column jump. It's over. 973k in the favor of Znow. Only half the misses that SDKL bled. More than that, actually.
Yeah, but losing your protect as well is going to hurt quite a decent bit. It's going to give Znow such a big advantage now. 5-2. If Znow wins this pick that they are about to choose, and I'm thinking it's going to be long node 2, the last long node available, or one of the hybrid that's up for grab. It's going to put him on match point. It's a severe situation on SDK's side, and it's going to be Hybrid Tree coming in instead of Long Node this time around. But hey, Hybrid Tree being the, well, technical wise, not hybrid, is going to be, I don't know, honestly. Hybrid is such a hit or miss for both players at this skill caliber. But since Znow did choose this, I'm pretty sure he does have a plan in mind of what to go from this.
I mean, I've seen it from some of these previous rounds as hybrid freeze, and I'm just like trying to think how much more insane this one can get, because I remember for semifinals, I saw some of these players just juking it out on some really gnarly hybrid free technical hybrids, and somehow they've just been getting so much more volatile where it's like, I generally have no idea who's even going to have an advantage in this. I mean, maybe Znow is just trying to bank on the discomfort of SDKL to be at least accentuating their score by quite a bit. This is going back to the longer side once again, what we've seen from the very beginning of this matchup, but it's still 3.5 minutes of length. Maybe SDKL still has something. We'll just have to see based on the Rise difficulty on this. I mean, it's just hard for me to calculate at this point, to be honest.
Literally, with hybrid, it's literally dependent on how the hybrid is, because with hybrid 3 it's going to be more of the techiest side of hybrid instead of hybrid 2, which is very jack heavy or shield heavy. With hybrid 3, since the fact that it's more based on tech, there's going to be more usage of Rise patterning compared to the other picks. SDK does have the accuracy lead currently with first quarter of the map finishers against Znow at 99.70, just having a 0.1% lead as of now from SDK, but we do see where this can always end up for multiple times this match already. It can always swing towards Znow at the very last minute. So all SDK have to do is literally hold. That's the only plausible way that he can try and get this point off of Znow and prevent him from being a match point. First of the drop section coming in, SDK finding a few 200 count comparing to Znow, both tying in terms of accuracy now. It's both still holding on to the full combo at the very least, but having the accuracy drop is going to be quite detrimental on SDK's side, especially he has such a comfortable lead in terms of accuracy earlier.
Yeah, it's just a big number of these really transitional moments that really set these two apart. I mean, SDKL had an advantage by only 1,000 points for a solid minute there, if anything. The panic button will be hit as we will resume... Okay.
Bancho? Yo, client?
Yo, client, wake up. We have some... We're watching something. Come on. Okay. What?
Let me check the MP link real quick. Oh no.
Dude.
I swear to God, if it was a DC. Okay, it's not a DC, that's a good thing. But Bancho's doing Bancho stuff.
Of course. It always does.
Snow still holding onto the full combo from what we can see. You know what? Screw it. We'll just commentate at the end. But Snow still holding onto the full combo at the funny accuracy number. Ooh, everybody spam it. I don't. But having the full combo still at the last quarter is insane to say the least. Who knows what SDK is currently doing as well? He may be having the full combo of possibly found a miss.
You were saying, you were wondering what they were doing. They have an answer. We have an answer. Oh my god.
We have an answer. Hold on a minute.
No way. Hold on.
Wait, both players still have seeing. What?
Oh my god. What? How did still have seeing?
Accuracy is in Znow.
Okay, never mind. They're not FCing.
Yo, Epic Man, we may be fired. We may be fired, Epic Man. We may be fired.
It's not even our fault. It's the fault of the Pancho, bro. Oh my day.
Nah, 988k finisher from Znow, and SDK just choking at the end yet again, giving Znow the match point. Znow, Epic Man, we're fired. We're actually so fired. We commentated curse these two people 4 times this match. Oh god.
How? Dude. Bro, everyone's having such a rough time. sdkl is literally down in the dumps with all these points won by Znow now. And now it's literally only 1 point from Znow to make it to a guaranteed like winners grand finals, pretty much. If he really wants to send down sdkl to that losers finals this early, it's basically the prime opportunity, and it's gonna have to come down to one more breakpoint. That's all the sdkl has, and they're gonna have to try and basically have their backs against the walls for a variety of the picks that we have left in this map pool, where I honestly do not even know what they can go for, because there's 3 rice picks that are left, but which one of these are actually advantageous? Which one of these are actually solid picks that aren't going to be as volatile as everything else we've seen so far?
I feel like maybe Rice 3 or Rice 6. Rice 6 coming in. Okay, I was thinking of Rice 3 in potential of fighting in terms of consistency, or Rice 6 Momoido no Kagi. That can be a little bit more of a dumpy tech from what we see on Rice 7 and Rice 5 that he can do. With Rice 6 coming in, I'm gonna feel so bad when sdkl decides to watch this VOD. Just both of us both of us is just not kind to him, I guess.
Yeah, but it's not even that we're not being kind or anything. It's just more that like it just keeps happening by pure coincidence. This one,
right.
I mean, you get what I mean. We're not even doing this like intentionally. I mean, I can definitely curse on purpose if I really wanted to, but no one's really ready for that conversation. No one's ready for when I go beast mode on these curses, bro.
Don't tempt us commentators to fully unleash our power of cursing. But here we go. Momoido no Kagi is going to come in straight away, mapped by none other Kimui, upgraded as well. It's going to be Ajiro cover instead of the Vocaloid version or the Project Sekai version. But hey, it's a banger song. I can't say no to that. But as of now, both players still holding onto the full combo up to the 400 combo cap now. It's going to stay stagnant temporarily. SDK does drop a little bit of accuracy there. Going to be swinging between Znow about roughly the same accuracy in terms of lead.
Yeah, for what it looks like, this is a very dense dump chart as expected from Kamui. I mean, everyone knows that Kamui makes a lot of these very, very dense dump charts, but, you know, putting this into a round that's basically as hard as Grand Finals and upgrading it to 1.1, you know that you're basically in for some hell to really unleash itself, as there's still a lot of bursts that we have, and even then, both players are being able to control as much of these bursts as possible, even if it does result in the accuracies dropping down by quite a bit, going off sdkl's drops. But at the same time, still negligible, because it's only 1,000 points that Znow has. It can very, very easily be roped into the other side if it does come down to a miss that Znow takes. But this is a break section. They're not going to take it. He shouldn't take it.
This, both players you have seen on this kind of dumb tech pick, is nuts to me. Znow does have the accuracy lead as of now, just very, very slightly, 0.05%. It's a lead no matter what. We're going into the second half soon. SDK finding a miss. That's not good at all. That's going to give Znow the massive lead. SDK finding another miss as well. It's such a detrimental miss as well. Finding multiple 200 count at the boot. It's going to give Znow from what looks like a 1,000 score lead just under all the way to 11,000 now. SDK not finding a comfortable side on this pick at all.
Oh my god. I just feel like I've seen an assassination happen in real time on the streets again. Znow finally missing, but this is such a minor drop. I don't think it's going to change anything unless Znow just lets go of the keyboard. That's the only way SDKL is going to be able to bring it back, because unfortunately for them, these parents are maybe just a little too much for them, too physical and too much you have to really do in just one matter that it just gets so overwhelming at times. I mean, you know, I have a lot of these jacks and all these patterns that literally look jump trillable at first glance, but no, they're not. There's still so many anchors and jumps that are so hard to control. Okay, it's over.
It's actually so over. With the map coming to an end and us commentators being for some reason very biased somehow, it's going to be Znow finishing it all with 7-2. Winning the match against SDKL. Such a way better ratio from SDKL, but finding more miss compared to Znow will give the upper edge to Znow, finishing off the match, winning 7-2. This is probably the worst commentary me and Epic Man has did in terms of commentator curse. We are never gonna recover.
Oh. Yeah, no, the existential dread's going to really haunt us following this matchup alone.
Average. This is actually average commentator. Oh no. But hey, at the very least, this is the winner's bracket. So that means SDKL is not out of the tournament just yet. He's just going to be knocked down into the loser bracket, going against Vayne on Saturday. I don't know what time yet. The boss hasn't given us the schedule, but hey, Saturday will be the match when the loser bracket will happen between Vayne and SDKL. So do stay tuned for that. But congratulations to Znow winning on Winners Bracket Finals, securing him the top 2 spot and having a shot in Grand Finals, possibly winning the tournament itself. God, this has been one hell of a painful match to commentate.
Yeah, I think even painful is really underselling it there, to be honest, Adam. Like, we've just been through a lot of picks that really felt like they should have gone in the favor of one, but unfortunately just didn't. We've seen it from a lot of picks. SDKL was generally putting up a good fight against Znow for the good majority of them, even if it looked like it was going to be a killing in the dark on what we've seen in Hybrid 3, but unfortunately the end spoke too soon for us. Right ahead of the script we were trying to write off of. So, I mean, at least for SDKL, they've secured themselves a top 3 placement, but now having to face Vayne over in the losers finals to secure whether they can make it to top 3 or you know, reach top 2 or take it in bronze. We're gonna have to continue the story over in the next 2 days once we go into the grand finals weekend, which definitely looks pretty good. There's a lot of show matches we have. We have a lot of good matches that are really awaiting on what is definitely quite a difficult map pool, if I want to say. Well, we'll have to see it in a few days.
But with that is finally the end of the finals matchup. We're going into the end game, guys, with grand finals. And God, it has been such a pleasure commentating this tournament thus far. I don't know if I'm gonna pop up in grand finals. Who knows? Who knows that either me or Epic Man will ever pop up. But hey, whoever's going to pop up for the Grand Finals commentary, do give them a warm welcome and do give the players the much needed support, as production has been crazy for this tournament thus far, from what I can say confidently.
Absolutely. The Grand Finals map pool definitely looks really interesting in terms of how hard it's going to be. So I'm really interested to see how everyone's going to be performing on that one for when it comes to the main matchups alone. The show matches I think they should be on the sheet. I'm not sure if they've already been established yet, but I guess we'll just have to see when there's like some announcements of it. But I think that pretty much does it for all I have to say on this matchup alone. So is there anything else you'd like to add on, Adam, before we close off, perhaps?
Not really, other than honestly, good luck, have fun to the top 3 remaining player, Vayne, SDKL, and Znow. Whoever wins whoever wins. But at the very end, they still get money. So without further ado, that is it from Adam Yuki, also known as Adam Ackerville by other people, signing off, and see you guys in the next remaining few days of the tournament.
Yeah, thank you all so much, and we'll catch you then. Be there, be square, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.